Welcome to The New Next, a podcast that addresses current events and how they will impact the future. Co-hosted by the inquisitive public speaking champion, Mike McVeigh, and energy, economics, and technology expert, Matt Jensen. Join us as we explore all things energy, economic, tech, and political, and how they will affect our future.
Podcasts typically grow by word of mouth. If you know anyone who would enjoy this content, sharing this in a message or by posting on social media would mean the world to us. Thanks for listening, and let's get started.
Matt, President Biden decides to nominate you, or he appoints you as the new energy secretary. He's like, you need to fix all this. And he gave you a free rein to go ahead and fix, even if it goes against the first 2 years of his presidency, or first year and a half or whatever. What changes does the U.S. need to make to make it more bearable, or is this just going to be an unbearable time for a while?
I wouldn't take that job because it's purely because there's like some actual fundamental, like the government's like a beast, as you know, right? So there's many different factors involved, and there's a lot of like rules and stuff like that kind of commingles, and what you get is the government, right? So it's not really like
careful.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's not like running a business where one or a couple of people can just make a decision and go after it. I don't really know. Like I think a lot of it would have to be through Congress. Some of the stuff, I wouldn't see. I don't think Biden would be willing to do what it takes to kind of change things. And I think that's some of the reason why they've been trying to loosen sanctions on Venezuela and cuddle up with Saudi Arabia and stuff as of late. Because it's, he's kind of been focused towards, I would say, a part of the, the people elected, and any sort of movement that kind of goes, that's kind of like direct, that goes against the environmentalists and some of the Democratic support, that's really, probably at a higher income level that are fine with us. Like, I don't think that he would really get anything politically out of it by attracting independents, but he would be really, I think, disappointing a lot of his hardcore base. But I don't see the government basically putting out like a big block of money for incentives to build new refineries. I think it was the Shell or Chevron CEO. I was listening to him recently, and he was kind of saying the same thing. It's like, I don't see that the U.S. is ever going to go grow refineries. So I think generally, rather than on this all of the above approach, which I think would be the smartest to do, is look at what has like security for our economy, like providing the products that we actually use here. And like we've talked a lot about, is not just having someone else produce them in a place where there's not really any environmental controls or anything. But I think we've had a tendency to overdo it. And the thing about politics on all sides is it's very ideological. So it's kind of like us against them. And
right.
We've been caught in this section where there's one truthful path that you have to go along. I think a lot of the people from, my impression listening to them, it kind of comes off as they have a savior complex a little bit too. But it's really, it's kind of what they're going to do. So, like, I don't, in the same way that Trump was very, I'd say, bullheaded about things, like, I think this administration is also the same way.
Yeah.
And, you kind of see in the past of people that really disagreed with Trump, like what happened to them. I'd kind of expect similar outcomes with this too. So
yeah, without going into a lot of political stuff, I don't feel like we've gotten away from. I would say Trump was maybe a small deviation point, but for the most part, I don't feel like things have changed that much since Clinton has been president as far as like procedure and stuff. It's more or less a dictator light style presidency, maybe before Clinton as well, but I'm just giving something a little bit more when I turned 21 kind of thing. As
very following politics.
Yeah. So so you can't solve everything yet. That's very disappointing, Matt. We were hoping you could solve everything.
So Cedric Richmond, I think he was like the deputy chief staff for Biden, like close ally for a long time, a former congressional representative from Louisiana. He, I believe, recently left the White House, and his nickname was Mr. Exxon because he was had such good connections with ExxonMobil. So I assumed when he was joining the White House that he would be kind of a stabilizing factor due to his years in lobbying and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's not, and so he's gone. Like there's a lot of people in there, like Gina McCarthy. She was the former head of California Energy Commission. I think that's Department of Natural Resources, California, something like that. But,
right.
They're really trying to adopt the California plan nationwide, and that's been mixed results. But it's pretty it's detrimental, I would say, to our current state of affairs to really not be thinking about the economy first. And I just, like we talked about before, it seems like every president that we have, it just swings one way or the other. There's not really kind of a stabilizing factor in there. It was when I went to school in the Netherlands, I feel like they had a lot, well, at least the policymakers that I knew there, when they were talking to us in school or just in conversations after class and stuff, they seemed a lot more focused on like the long term and maximizing a utility in a stable way for the citizens, like balancing that economics versus other. And
right.
They just really find that corporate interests, in quotes, are kind of rampant here, or lobbying interests, and depending on who's in charge, it really influences, I would say, more hardline positions on things. So that's my opinion, but it's disappointing to see how it's being communicated more than anything.
Right.
And I just don't, maybe I'm totally wrong, but from, I just don't see how that would play well with people politically. So I'm not really sure what the whole strategy is, but it doesn't seem to be working very well.
If you would like to learn more about the New Next podcast, find us at thenewnextpodcast.com, where you can suggest a topic you would like for us to cover. If you enjoyed what you heard, share the podcast, tell a friend about it, or rate us with 5 stars. We appreciate you.